All right. Why don't we start with just like introducing yourself and telling us what you do for a living?
Sure. My name's Schwa Potter. You might know me as Schwa de Vivre, the drag queen. And I do a lot of things for a living, but mostly I'm an entertainer. I'm an actor, a playwright, and a professional drag queen.
Very nice. I found you on Chopped. I'm a big fan of Chopped and also a big fan of drag queens as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna reach out and see if you are even at all interested in doing the podcast." And you were so kind to do that. But you've got an even longer resume than just being on Chopped. You are a Chopped winner. You weren't just on there. You do you do you're an actor. You've been in numerous plays and even gone as far as to do musicals. I know that you had performed in Mary Poppins on Broadway.
Yep, that's right.
Nice, very nice. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about Chopped, and then I wanted to get into your drag career as well.
Cool.
Um, I well, first, tell me a little bit about your wiener dog. I love your wiener dog, by the way.
If I had a nickel for every time somebody asked me that question, I should have brought him in here. Brody, it's his birthday today.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's 11 years old today.
He's so sweet.
He's the sweetest little miniature dachshund ever. And those little guys live a long time. So, we're hopeful he'll stick around another 5 or 6 years. But he's the light of my life.
Can you tell us about what Schwa de Vivre means for those that don't parlez-vous français? Parlez-vous?
Well, my drag name, Joie de Vivre, it comes from the French phrase joie de vivre, which means the joy of life.
Mhm.
And my first name, my legal first name is Joshua. But friends have called me Schwa, the shortened version of that, for a long, long time, way before I started doing drag. And when I started doing drag, I was trying to figure out my drag name. And, somebody had already nicknamed me Schwa de Vivre because I tend to be a very positive and joyful person.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the nature of my personality. So I guess I'm lucky in that respect. And yeah, it just kind of stuck. So now I'm known as the Queen of Joy, spreading my message to the world through the interwebs.
Well, it suits you well, I must say.
Oh, thank you.
Um, when I first saw you on Chop, I looked for two things, and the reason before I say what I look for, before I say what those two things are, I my partner and I for Pride there was a illusion of gender party that we went to, and from my waist up I wore basically a tuxedo and like a top hat and like oh very dapper. From the waist down was a mini skirt and 6-inch heels. So on
Sexy.
Chopped, yeah, yeah, on Chopped, I was like, "Are you wearing heels and are you tucked? Like, what are the two?" This is insane that they have a drag queen on here. A, I was excited, but B, I was like, "Is he tucked? And, and are you wearing heels?" So I guess I was pleased to see that you weren't wearing heels because I was like, "Fuck, what a," and I couldn't tell if you were
Yeah.
tucked or not, but you know.
Yes, actually, I selected my costume specifically so I would not have to be tucked
Good. Yeah.
because I knew I would be in it for 15 hours.
Is that how long it takes to film?
That's how long I was there, yeah.
My God. Did they
The
tell you
other
that in
contestants
advance?
weren't there as long, obviously, because they didn't last the whole time. But I think the first person who was chopped was there for probably 9 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
So,
God. That's crazy. They do it
yeah,
all in one day.
it's one day.
Wow. Cool. I'm impressed.
And I wanted to wear heels. I did want to wear heels. And they told me that I could not for safety reasons, which
Fair.
was actually a blessing because, again, 15 hours. So
Oh
I
my
was as
God.
comfortable as I could be while still looking beautiful. That was my
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. Well, you pulled it off. You did really, really well.
Thank you.
How long does it take before the judges? This is something I always am curious of. Um, wait, before I get into that question, your dad was a chef. Is that correct?
Yeah, he is a chef still. He owns a restaurant in Kentucky.
How did that prepare you for the show? Or did it
It
prepare you for
didn't.
the
It didn't.
show?
Um, He actually didn't teach me how to cook. I taught myself how to cook when I went to college and realized that I needed to eat more than bologna from CVS.
Yeah,
So I kind of was a self-taught cook. Um, so yeah, but he was excited, of course, because food is all that really matters to him. So he was pretty pumped that I was on a cooking show.
yeah, yeah. Nice, very nice. Well, I feel like you did it justice. Obviously, pulled away a win, and all in
Yeah.
drag. So,
Yeah, I mean, I
um,
was pretty stoked. I knew after the first round that I was the best cook there. I could just tell with the best like eye for plating and all of that and all that stuff. Presentation's important.
sure.
So I just said to myself, just focus every time you're in the kitchen and you can win this. And
Yeah,
so that's just what I kept telling myself all day.
yeah.
And I did. Yay.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm constantly imagining myself on that show. I love cooking myself, but just like whenever you put the food on the plate, how long does it take? I just see the food dying. Like, how long does it take before the judges get to sink their teeth into it?
Totally. Listen, my dachshund is here at the door. Brody,
Oh
come here.
yeah.
Come here. Get in here. Come here. Come say hi.
God, I love
This is
wiener dogs so
Brody.
much. Hi, Brody. Oh my gosh, what a handsome chap.
And he brought his favorite toy, which is as big as him. Gator. Same size.
That's so cute. That's so cute. Yeah, I was Insta stalking you, so of course I was like, "Oh, you
Yes.
got a wiener dog! I love it. I'm definitely
I
gonna bring that
love
up on the show."
I love Brody. All right, get out of here.
All right, scram you. You had your 15 minutes. Get out of
That's
here.
it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Sorry, what was your question about Chopped?
how long does it take before the judges actually get to eat the food? Whenever you're finished, hands up, and then do the plates like go right over? Do they take pictures of the food? I have this like fear of, oh God, it's dying. Get in there quick. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I don't know what they do with the food to keep it from dying. For example, if
Mhm.
it's like an ice cream or something that, has to be eaten within a certain amount of time. I assume they put it in fridges or whatever, but there's about an hour between the
Oh,
time that we finish and the time that we go back to get judged,
I thought you were gonna
which is
say like
crazy.
10 minutes maybe. And yes, it does sometimes. If wow, an hour.
Yeah, I would
Jesus.
say between half hour and an hour. And usually what would happen is we would go back, we would all sit around the table, and our producers who were, very individually, like we each had our own kind of person
Mhm.
through this process. And the producers would be like, okay, talk about this thing that happened, or Schwa, remember when such and such happened, say something about that. And me being a performer, they got a lot of great snarky made for TV comments out of me.
Yeah.
I'm really not as much of a bitch as I came across in the show because I come across as a bitch. Funny bit,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
a funny bit, and I'm right. I mean, I was a lot better than Gina.
Absolutely. I know. Absolutely. You know who I was surprised that stuck around? It was like a Halloween episode. I don't know if we mentioned
Yeah.
that or not. I was surprised that the guy with, and this disgusts me just regularly, like like he had like boils and like blood pus coming out of his, and I was like, oh, get rid of that guy. Like, I don't want to think about that and also food. And then he made an omelet or something. I was surprised to see him, spoiler alert, last more than one round. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Well,
was
the
happy to
problem,
see.
the only reason he lasted more than one round is because the girl who got kicked off first, her dish, she made stuffed peppers, but the peppers weren't cooked. So,
Yeah,
it's just her food was bad,
yeah.
and his wasn't
I
as bad.
I'm really hopeful that they'll do like an all drag episode. That was a lot of fun. You saved that episode, by the way. It was all you. The weight was all on your shoulders.
I mean, my producer said it from the first time we met, how excited she was because she's used to working with chefs
Uh-huh.
who, are a specific type of person, but they're not performers, they're not actors. And to get, the TV, the lines, all of that stuff out of them is a lot of work. And with me, it was no work because I
Yeah.
was I was like ready to go in there and be like, oh yes, God, oh grr, fuck these people. Oh, am I not supposed to curse on
No,
the show? Can I say that?
no,
Okay.
shit's in the title, so you have
Oh,
at
okay,
it.
great.
Yeah.
I try to keep it PG-13. Sometimes an F-bomb slips out.
It happens. Yeah, it's all good.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it was so fun, and I've asked to come back. I've told them I'd love to do an all-star, show. They've
Yeah.
told me that that's all professional chefs that do that because I was on an amateur episode, and I'm like, I don't care. I'll
Yeah.
compete with the professionals. But yeah, a whole drag episode would be amazing. That would be just so
Yeah.
much fun. I mean, that would probably be the funniest episode that they've ever had.
Yeah. I love the dragisms too. I don't know if that's the correct term or not, but like you
Yeah.
better work and some of those that came out just because I'm a huge fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. I saw I'm like pointing at the screen like yes, yes, yeah, you better work like that. Snapping, I love it. I love the whole thing. You're so sassy. It was amazing. I was some joy washed over me immediately to learn that there was a drag queen, and then of course you delivered just so well. Have you ever auditioned to be on RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yeah, I've auditioned 3 times now.
Really?
Yes. It's a
Okay.
lot of
And
work.
well, I know that. Yeah, tell me what that's like because I know that the only other queen that I know of, Alaska. I know Alaska Thunderfuck auditioned like 8 times or something like that, and finally got on and ended up winning. So I'm I don't know if that's like a fact, like oh yeah, I got four more and then I'm in, or is that how
Well,
do you
it
feel? What?
I think it
Go ahead.
depends on the queen and where they are in their journey.
Mm-hmm.
The show has evolved over the years, and every time uh, a new season airs, the show kind of, as RuPaul puts it, steps its pussy up.
Yeah.
So, if you go back and you watch the first couple of seasons, the girls are not wearing these huge designer costumes all the time. I mean, they look great, but it was more simple. And
Mm-hmm.
now the aesthetic has gotten so heightened that you really have to bring that quality to your audition, along with whatever it is that makes you special.
Where do the auditions
Um,
take place? Do you phone them in? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
it's
cut
a
you off.
film. It's filmed. Yeah.
You phone in.
Yeah, it's like a 20-minute. They try to cap you at 20 minutes, so you get like a 4-page instruction guide, and you have to show at a minimum of like 12 different looks, and they have to be super diverse, and you have to do an acting challenge, and you have to do a snatch game challenge, and you have to talk as yourself, and you have to be confident, and you have to be unique, and um, it's just, and then there's so many girls that audition now. There's so many queens.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
So,
sure.
but I do feel like every single time I've auditioned, I have really stepped up my drag.
Mhm.
And since the pandemic, I've literally had nothing to do but sit in the house and try to work on what will get me to that next level. And for me, it's aesthetic. I'm a performer. I've been one a long time. I've got that in the can, but I'm just trying to like step that aesthetic way, way, way up. So I've been working on wigs. I have a designer here in Pittsburgh where I'm living right now, who's working on several pieces for me for my next audition. So I'm hoping that this will be the last audition.
Yeah. Do you style most of your wigs, or does
I
that
do.
go
I
through?
style all of my wigs.
Nice. Good job. How many wigs do you have?
Maybe 20 or 30.
God. What about shoes?
Probably like 15 to 20 pairs.
That's not terrible. I
Yeah,
mean,
the
I've
shoes are I see my problem is that I'm like I'm basic. Like I just want a nice black pump, a nice nude pump. I don't need more than that.
yeah.
Um,
They work
but
with
it's
so
just
many things.
expensive.
I
Yes.
know. Yeah, yeah, seriously. I mean, I only had to buy a mini skirt and heels. So and that was still pretty, it was a I got some nice ones.
Mhm.
I wanted to play the part. So that was a high ticket item. Those were high ticket items. So I can only imagine. And you've got
Oh,
some
it's
intricate costumes on top of that also, which I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's crazy. It's like but you have to invest in it. It's a business, and that's really how you have to look at it. And I've been running my drag career as a business for 7 years. So every time I have to buy something, I'm like, well, it's a tax write-off.
Yeah, that's
So
good. Are you like incorporated? And
I'm not incorporated, but we do my drag on a 1040 or whatever. I don't know. I
yeah,
have an accountant. I
I
just
gotcha.
give them the numbers and they do that stuff.
I save my receipts, I pass them over, I pay them at the end of the day, it gets taken care of. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, totally. Are there any queens that you look up to? Like, is there somebody that you're like, if I could just be like, fill in the blank, then, or I totally look up to so and so's career?
Absolutely. I mean, my favorite drag queen from New York was always Hedda Lettuce. I don't know if
Yeah,
you've ever heard of her.
sounds
She's
familiar.
Hedda Lettuce is a legend. She always has green hair, so that's how you
Yeah,
would recognize her. And she's one of the funniest queens I've ever seen. I saw her show at least 100 times when I was living in New York. She would do this movie night at the Classic Cinemas down in Chelsea every Thursday, and she would show classic movies, Joan Crawford, and you know that kind of stuff. And she'd do a comedy set beforehand, and then we would watch the movie. And I feel like I learned a lot about how to be a host from her,
yeah.
and how to have material but be off the cuff and like not feel like you're reading from a script, but
Hmm.
just improv. Bianca Del Rio was another queen in New York who
Yeah, I love
also won
Bianca.
Drag Race,
Hmm.
but I knew her from before, and I just always thought she was so funny. I love the queens who are comedians.
Yeah,
Bob the
yeah,
drag queen. I got to know Bob a little bit in New York before she went on the show, and then no one ever saw her again.
yeah.
She's all over the place. Um, but so funny. And so I think that's why I've always leaned into the comedy aspect of it, because that's my passion and purpose in life is to spread joy and bring people laughter.
Yeah.
Um, but I must say that I've been really like enjoying and getting into kind of looking at the look queens a little more
Hmm.
because I'm trying to elevate my own aesthetic and just appreciating the artistry of the makeup that they do. And it's
It's insane.
incredible what some of these queens
Oh,
do.
oh, it's insane. Yeah, I'm constantly impressed. Trixie Mattel has got her own like makeup line. I'm like, yeah, she should. She does crazy stuff with her makeup. She definitely should.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Bob the drag queen. He on RuPaul's Drag Race. He mentioned you're either a Pride queen or a Halloween queen. Like whenever you like first started drag, it was either on Halloween or on Pride. When did you start? Like what was, or were you Halloween or Pride or
I
other?
was neither.
Really?
I was
Nice.
neither. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
What was your first
well,
experience?
you know what? That's not true. I would say I'm probably a Halloween queen, because I definitely dressed up as a cheerleader when I was a kid. I
Uh-huh.
want to say maybe 10,
Yeah.
full drag, full
10
drag.
years old.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. That's
Wig,
awesome.
makeup, the whole deal.
You
Yeah.
did?
And yeah, and we have
So
pictures.
great.
Very
That's
funny.
awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess a Halloween queen. But what I was thinking of was I was in college and it was like the summer after my freshman year, I was working at Kings Island in Cincinnati, an amusement park. And we would go to my friend Matt and I would go to the gay bars like 5 nights a week after work. And I was 19, so I could get in, I couldn't drink. And there was this one place called Oscars, and they had drag. And it was the first time I really like saw drag shows, like really
Yeah.
saw shows. And I was just like, this is incredible. I
Yeah.
I want to try this.
Uh-huh.
And there was one amateur night that I did enter the competition, and ooh, child, she looked rough. Rough.
Yeah.
Like busted pop and go wig that I picked up downtown Cincinnati, girl makeup, a tube top,
Yeah.
little pair of shorts.
Uh-huh.
thinking I can just improv to Britney Spears in heels when I had no idea how to walk in them. It was hilarious.
Yeah, your natural eyebrows, I'm sure.
Oh my God. Just literally just chapstick and mascara. So busted.
So busted. Let's talk about eyebrows a little bit. I'm always impressed by the queens that just go for it and shave their eyebrows. You clearly still have yours. What is your technique, or have you ever shaved your eyebrows?
I have shaved my eyebrows once. I did it earlier this year.
You did.
I did. It was maybe a month or 2 months into quarantine.
Hmm.
I started
But that was that was just
self
because you're
quarantining
going
like March
crazy.
13th. Say
Sorry.
what?
I was just trying to. I said, would you just shaved them just because you were going crazy from
Yes.
quarantine?
Yes. Well, I thought it would be fun for TikTok.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, check this out.
Um, and in all honesty, I was like, a lot of girls do this. I'm not really going anywhere.
Mhm.
I'm not meeting with people. I don't have to, because if I was going out into the world and I didn't have eyebrows, I'd draw them on.
Sure.
But that's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I was like, let's just try it. If I hate it, they'll grow back. And I kept them shaved for about a month.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
loved it when I got
Yes.
into drag. When I got into
Yeah.
drag, I loved it.
Sure.
But when I was not in drag, every time I walked past the mirror, oh, no, I did
Yeah.
not feel cute.
Yeah, I understand. I get it, man. I don't know. I don't know where I would fall with that. Like, go ahead and shave them off. I think you would have to be performing constantly to just go ahead and buzz them to make
I
that
think it makes
worthwhile.
sense if you're like going on Drag Race,
Hmm.
because those girls are in drag every single day, and it does make things just a lot easier. I mean, you're cutting at least 20 minutes off of your routine. And there's also something to be said about not having to put makeup over glue, which
Yeah,
can be tricky.
yeah. Just for those that may not know, is that's the other option? Is you glue them? Is it a glue stick? Is there a
I
specific
use a glue
glue?
stick. Yeah, I use just a purple washable glue stick, and I do 2 to 3 layers. You got to get it really like all in there, and then you comb them flat to your face, powder that, foundation over that.
Yeah.
And the illusion, I mean, the illusion is great, but I feel like if I was doing drag every single day, I would consider shaving them off,
Uh-huh.
but
But
she just
yeah, I
doesn't look
get
as
it.
good. I just feel cuter when I've got eyebrows. Because at the end of the day, I'm a drag queen, but I'm still a man,
Right.
and I identify as a man, and I want to feel like an attractive man.
Yeah, and you certainly are. I
Oh,
this funny thing. Ow! Stop it! Get out of here. This thing. I don't know if all queens do this. Tell me, keep me on track here if this is untrue. But I noticed on RuPaul, if a queen is mad at another queen, they're like, oh, his makeup was terrible and he just phoned in his performance and but if they're getting along, like, oh girl, work that they're referred to as, oh girl, hey, it's all right, girl, get in here, give me some love. But if
mm-hmm.
they're angry, they're like, he this and he that. But if they're getting along, it's
Mm,
she, girl, work this. I don't know. It's
interesting.
something that I picked up, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's a thing. I wonder if that's like,
Huh. I've never really noticed that or thought about that.
and maybe it was
Um,
just like one or two, catty bitches, but I don't
it
know.
makes sense though. I mean, it definitely is catty to call a queen who's in drag he.
Yeah, right. That's
That
got
is
to be.
not that is not cool.
It can't be cool. Yeah, just because the effort that you put in. When last night when we were talking, you were like, "Is this going to be filmed?" And I was like, "It doesn't have to be. Please don't put on full drag for this shitty podcast. I would hate for you to have to go through the steps. So let's just, yeah, you did great with the nice t-shirt, or nice button down. Excuse me.
There you go.
Yeah. So, anyways, I didn't know if that was a thing or not, but I definitely can see how it's insulting to be like, oh, he looks great in drag, as opposed to, she's killing it.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on who's saying it, and but if I think you could probably say anything, and if you're throwing that drag shade, it can be, shady.
Totally,
So.
totally. How many characters do you have? I'm constantly entertained by your page, your website, your Instagram. You've got a ton.
I mean, I have my main drag character, Schwa, and that's, the persona that I've been developing for the last 8 years. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I think it's 8 years.
Wow.
Um, so that's like my main persona. The biggest character I do other than that is my Liza Minnelli,
Yeah.
which that was a Halloween thing that I did. Maybe, oh God, that was probably 2005. So 15 years ago, I started doing Liza just for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I got so much attention, and I'm an attention whore.
Yeah.
So I was like, yes, put it in deeper. I want the attention. So I started just kind of doing Liza, and I always thought it's not a good impersonation. It doesn't really sound like her, but people don't seem to care or don't agree with me. They think it's great.
Oh,
So
I think it's great. I think it's because you don't zhuzh it up too much where it's like way over the top. It's just a little like hat nod here and there. Do you mind if I interview Liza for a little bit? Do you mind if I ask her a few questions?
yeah, you can ask that. Hey, I'm right here.
Oh, hi,
What do you? Hi, Adam.
hey, Liza. I'm so excited to have you here on the show. This is amazing.
It's
I just,
wonderful. I'm sitting here next to my telephone receiver, and I'm ready to answer your questions.
okay, great. On the animated series Journey Back to Oz, you played the part of Dorothy, the original role of your mother, Judy Garland. Was that a hard role to play, or was it fun to fill your mother's legacy?
Well, Mama was the best actress and singer and performer that ever lived on the world and the earth. And that's where we are, right, Jimmy? The earth. So there's no way I could possibly fill her shoes, especially because I wear 2 sizes bigger. Yeah, yeah. So I'm a 9.
Oh, that's great. Did any of the members of the Rat Pack, whenever you were touring with them, did they try to put the moves on you at all?
Of course.
Of course they did. In Arrested Development, your character suffers from vertigo. How were you able to channel that illness so well?
Well, I got 14 hip replacements during the run of that show, and so every time I fell over, it was real. It was real. They'd have to prop me up, yeah, for my scenes.
You, you've been called. I'm just so fan struck. I'm sorry, I'm giggling.
Yeah, that's all
You've,
right. I do it all the time.
you've been called the little sister of Barbara Streisand. Would you mind singing us out with maybe a little, maybe This Time or Cabaret, New York, or Losing My Mind, something like that?
It's like I'm losing my mind.
Beautiful. Make us and scene.
Wow, you really put me through my improv paces today.
I'm so sorry. I love improv. Did you do improv?
I've never officially done improv, but training. I trained as an actor, um, and have a BFA in acting. So that was part of our training.
Sure.
And just over the years, I mean, honestly, with drag, it's been a master class in improv. And now I feel like I can get in front of a room with a microphone, even just as myself, and be perfectly comfortable. Guiding any kind of show or event or anything like that. And people do hire me to do that. They hire me to just host events and stuff like that now. So yeah, I love it. I love the improv aspect, and I guess I'm good at it, and people
Yeah.
respond. So, I mean, the one
Yeah.
thing I've learned in this life, I've learned a couple things so far. I haven't been here that long, 38 years. But one thing I've learned is if you're good at something and people respond to it, lean into it.
Sure. Yeah. That's great advice. That's great advice. Yeah. I feel like the chops of improv can definitely get you ready for showbiz, whatever facet that is, as far as like performing and just getting up in front of a stage with a microphone, even officiate, being a
Wedding
being a
officiant.
what? Thank you. What if I was like, there's that's not the term. I'm about to misspeak. Here it comes. Thank you for saving me. Yeah, which you also do as well.
I do, yeah. I've officiated 25 weddings
Nice, very nice. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Have you ever done it in drag?
a couple times. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's what
actually
I would.
one of the first ones I did, I think the first one I did I was for my sister. And so I was just dressed in a suit. And then the second one I did was for these lesbians that had seen me at some show
Mhm.
and they were getting married in Vermont. They're like, "We want you to come and be, the like feminine part." This is
Yeah.
actually what they said. Then we want you to come and be the feminine part of our wedding because we're both going to be wearing tuxes. And I wore a wedding dress.
Nice, very nice.
I
That's
mean, a
fun.
slutty sequined wedding dress, but still
I saw it in my head already. I was like, this isn't a traditional dress. Like that it
so
was
ridiculous.
yeah. Nice. Good way to balance the energy there.
Yeah,
Too much
yeah,
male energy. We need you in here for some female balance. Yeah, very
totally.
nice. um I know that you also do a character called Pandemic, who I'm very fond of. Does Pam have any words of advice for us during this trying time?
Well, the funny thing is I've only done Pandemic once. I dressed up as Pam. I was like, I want to do this character. I'm from Kentucky, so I know people that sound like that
Yeah.
because Pam talks like this.
Yeah, she
She's
talks
very
like
sinister.
that.
She talks like this. I'm Pandemic. And so I dressed up as her one day and I shot all of the little videos that I think I made 5 or 6, and I haven't dressed up as her since. But
Oh, I love that character, by the way. If I may just fanboy out for a little bit, I also come from the South, and I guess that character, that's why it resonates with me, because I know a ton of people that are, you just do this little thing over here, you just cover your mouth up, and that's how you wear a mask. Or don't do it at all because it's your right, or whatever. Anyways,
well,
I
Pam
was like,
believes in science. Pam
that's
believes in
oh,
science.
lovely, lovely. I'm glad that she's spreading the correct message there. Um, Well, we're about to wind things down a little bit, but I wanted to tell you that I know that Ross Matthews is definitely gunning for you. So there's no doubt in my mind that I'll see you on RuPaul's drag race in the future. So if I can say something before RuPaul has a chance to, Schwa de Vivre, you're a winner, baby. um, but yeah, I've definitely heard him say on his podcast that he is a big supporter and a huge fan of yours. So I look forward to seeing you there in the future. Schwa, is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about before I let you loose?
One thing that has really been hitting home with me throughout this time is just that, everybody's dealing with mental health issues. And I just want everybody who's out there listening or watching to know that you're not alone and that there are helping hands all around you.
Yeah.
And if you ever are feeling like you don't know what to do, just reach out to just reach out to somebody and just say I need help because they can help you. I mean, even if it's just guiding you to all of the many, many resources and hotlines that are out there specifically for that. And I think we need to talk about it more and we need to destigmatize the idea that mental health is something that, we shouldn't talk about because we all deal with it. So that's something that I'm trying to infuse into my act more is just to take a couple of moments between the copious amounts of laughter to remind everybody that if they're feeling low, they're not alone.
Yeah.
And there are helpers everywhere. You just got to look for the helpers.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much. That's it for us. Play us out, Shitty Ukulele.
Woo!